How F1 drivers are so fast whilst it's wet. It appears that Formula 1 was not intended to race in the rain. As they navigate the slick race circuit, the drivers become wet in their open vehicles. Nevertheless, Formula 1 continues to compete under any rainy conditions. In this video, we will look at how F1 drivers are so fast whilst it's wet, and learn why F1 drivers and races take place in the rain and how races may go on safely whilst it's raining. Welcome back to F1 Unlimited. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy it. Turn on the bell icon to receive notifications about upcoming videos. With that said, let's dive right in. Why do F1 races take place in the rain? The gist is that Formula 1 races are held in the rain because vehicles can operate in that environment. Because cars are fundamentally water resistant, they can withstand a downpour, and wet weather tyres make it possible for vehicles to travel safely whilst it's raining. F1 needs to be able to compete in the rain to fulfill its broadcast and ticketing obligations. This is because it would be expensive to postpone or cancel a Grand Prix due to rain. Tickets would need to be returned, and F1 would have unfulfilled obligations for broadcasting that they would need to make up for monetarily. What do F1's wet weather tyres do? Formula 1 complete wet tyres are identified by blue lettering and stripes. They resemble the tyre you see on a road car since they have trodden-like tyres used in dry circumstances. Compared to intermediate tyres, the treads enable the tyre to displace more water. All Formula 1 tyres are made by Pirelli, who claims that when a car is moving at 186 miles per hour, a complete set of wet tyres can remove 85 litres of water per tyre every second. Additionally, these tyres are made to stop aquaplaning, which can be very hazardous. Drivers who aquaplane may potentially slide off the circuit, lose places, or collide with the barriers, forcing them to abandon the race. They move slower than intermediate tyres and more slowly than dry weather slick tyres. What do intermediate tyres do in Formula 1? Well, in Formula 1, intermediate tyres are exactly what their name implies. They are a compromise between the thoroughly wet tyre used when it rains and the slick tyres used in dry circumstances. With less speed but more water displacement than the slick tyres, the intermediate tyres offer more speed than the full wets. According to Pirelli, the intermediate tyres have a water displacement capacity of up to 30 litres per tyres per second at 186 miles per hour or 300 kilometers per hour. Because there is no standing water, the intermediates can be used on a dry or wet track. They are ideal for situations where there is a light drizzle or after it has finished raining, but the track still needs to be totally dry but doesn't have puddles. Unfortunately, the intermediate tyres frequently become so worn down during races that they resemble slick tyres. Is a Formula 1 race ever too wet to go? Pirelli has created tyres that allow for racing in the rain, but occasionally the conditions are too dangerous for an F1 race to be safely held. The circuit is frequently regarded as too slick, and the vision needs to be better for F1 cars to be driven. Cars can aquaplane, losing touch with the track surface, which is dangerous when there is a lot of standing water. F1 cars also produce a lot of water spray behind them, which makes racing and following difficult because drivers find it difficult to see the cars in front of them. These raise serious safety issues. This occurred only recently at the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix held at Spa-Francorchamps. Unfortunately, it was declared hazardous to the race because it was raining heavily when it was supposed to begin. The first 25 minutes of the race were postponed while the officials waited for the rain to stop. The race was still planned to begin even though the weather remained the same. However, the race started behind the safety car, and under safety car circumstances, since the rain was still pouring, this required drivers to maintain their paces and slow down. The race was called off after 2 laps designated as formation laps because it was assessed as too unsafe to continue. Due to the extraordinary circumstances, the race clock, which had started during the formation lap, was paused while the remaining time to finish the race was running out. After 3 hours of waiting, the race finally got underway once more. This time, the safety car followed for 2 laps. Finally, the 3rd lap of this race saw an end to it. To the surprise of some racers and some spectators who had endured the rain the entire day, a result was announced even though only 2 laps had technically been completed. Due to the Grand Prix's brief duration, the top 10 drivers only received half of the available points. The starting grid served as the finishing order for the race because the entire event was held whilst a safety car was in operation. If you guys have enjoyed it here and want to know more about Formula 1 related content, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, remember to click the bell icon to receive notifications for upcoming videos. What are the pit stop regulations for an F1 race in wet weather? Under normal circumstances, there are regulations surrounding tyre consumption during the entire race when there is no rain, and Formula 1 teams are utilising slick tyres. Drivers must employ at least 2 different compounds in this situation during the race. These could be medium and soft compounds, medium and complex, or hard and soft. Therefore, during a Formula 1 race, drivers must perform at least 1 pit stop. However, when it rains before or during the race and participants begin on either intermediate or thoroughly wet tyres, these regulations do not apply. This indicates that drivers can only complete the entire race on intermediate or wet tyres without penalties. What impact does rain have on an F1 race? Now that we know why F1 races can take place in the rain, the regulations for these events, and which drivers successfully navigated the challenging circumstances, let's examine how rain affects an F1 race. The track becomes incredibly slick as a result, which is the first effect. A race can be impacted by even the smallest amount of precipitation before any standing water is formed on the track. So, if it starts raining during a race or looks like it might, drivers must pit right away to change from their slick tyres to intermediate or wet weather tyres depending on the weather. When it rains, the track gets slick, which reduces traction. Thus, drivers must adjust how they brake when approaching curves. To guarantee that they make the corner, they must brake a little earlier. However, if the rain stops whilst the race is in progress, a dry racing line will frequently be visible since the cars are still moving water. Due to the dry track's increased traction, racing is made simpler in this circuit area. However, as drivers gradually slow down in rainy circumstances, the major problem is not a lack of grip. The wet weather tyres aid in the movement of water to stop aquaplaning. Indeed, visibility is drastically decreased also. Due to their enormous width, modern F1 vehicles generate a lot of sprays. Formula 1 can compete in the rain because of wet weather tyres, water-resistant vehicles, and skilled drivers. Some drivers adapt to the different restrictions in challenging conditions like a duck to water. They conquer the elements to drive their cars safely home on the slick track. And that will conclude today's video. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, please subscribe if you enjoy the content and hit the bell icon for more notifications on our upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching F1 Unlimited, and we'll see you in the next one.